So glad you are with us on the Allon Exchange. Brad Johansson with Jane Brittany Hagy, Allon Planning Partners. Nice to be back with you guys.
Brad, good to see you.
How is everything?
We're doing great.
Good.
Yeah, it's great. You know, it's been hot in Tennessee.
Hot summer days.
Hot and
in
rainy.
Georgia, hot in Tennessee, hot in the South.
It's actually hard to go to a state where you can't say, man, it's been hot.
It has been. It has been. It follows us everywhere we go.
All right. So here's another thing that's following wherever you go. You've been climbing the mountain for a long time, right? I've been trying to get to this spot. I got a number, or I got a number when I want to be done. And I'm trying to figure out how to climb this mountain and get to the other side. We're gonna help you on this mountain climb. We're gonna get you to that spot of saying, you know what? Maybe the descent can be fun as well into retirement. So let's lead into that. How do we go into this mindset? Because, man, we have a mindset for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And maybe the mindset even changes once we get better at what we do. We've been doing it, and now I'm pretty good at it. But man, I'd like to be done with it. And I'd like to come down the mountain. So take me on this mindset change, because climbing the mountain is, man,
That's right.
I'm gonna be tough
Yeah,
on climbing
and that's
the mountain,
what we
right?
help with, you know. And we were watching something not too long ago.
It was a Netflix documentary.
Yeah, and also the news, because you were talking about, because something about climbing something.
Sometimes we're not always on the same wavelength. That was a good example.
You know, like, but I was about Mount Everest is what I was talking about. A gentleman from UK, I believe.
Oh, that was the news.
Climbed Mount Everest. Yeah, there was a Netflix documentary too.
Yeah.
But he climbed Mount Everest more than anyone in history besides one gentleman, right? And they were making a big deal out of it. It took a long time, and what it actually took for him to climb Mount Everest, man, it is insane. I don't think I could ever do it. And again and again. I think like 19 times.
19 times.
And so it was very heroic, crazy, you know, whatever you want to put in there, right? It was a lot. But when we see someone do that, I started studying, what does it take to actually get up Mount Everest? And it's a lot of training, a lot of dedication. You don't just wake up one morning and say, I'm climbing Mount Everest, right? But I was looking also statistically, most of the accidents happen on the way down. Most of the fatalities happen when they're coming down, right? Because why? You've spent a long time, you've spent a lot of energy and a lot of effort in climbing this mountain, but sometimes you don't think about, well, I got to make it back off this mountain. That's what we help with in retirement. We specialize in helping folks who have taken 30, 40 years of their life to climb their retirement Mount Everest, and they say, you know what, I have accumulated wealth. I've put all this money and assets and resources together, but now I actually have to use some of it. That's where most of the accidents happen, and that's where we want to step in and say, do you have a plan for it? How are you going to get down? That's what we want to talk about.
Well, because the top of the mountain beginning the descent is not the destination. That's only halfway through the journey, right? And most folks think, oh, I made it. So the documentary I was referring to, it's a Netflix documentary about this guy who scaled the face, I can't remember the name of it, it's in Yosemite.
I know what you're talking about, too.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I wish my brain would work to bring it
El
up.
Capitan, that's what it is.
There you go.
And he did it solo. So that means no ropes, no nothing, literally just his hands and feet, scaling it. And so, I mean, it's just unbelievable, kind of like the Mount Everest thing. What they do is just unbelievable. But it really is the same way with our finances, because we spend our whole lifetime preparing for this ascent, and we're working so hard to build and to grow.
If I could just get there.
If I could just make it to retirement, right? But there has to be a plan to come down. You think that man didn't have a plan to come down, El Capitan? I mean, how dangerous would that be if he just was like, let's just take it as it goes. Let's see how it goes.
Let's see what happens.
That's certainly not the approach he took going up. So there is a strategy to taking those distributions from your accounts. But what we want to really begin the conversation around is it takes this switch in your mind as well from only growth, grow, build, amass, to, okay, I want to continue to grow, but I also have to begin taking distribution planning and strategies around how to actually do that without paying a ton of taxes, without pulling from the wrong place at the wrong time, without not having all these extra fees that you're getting because of the timing or the ways in which you're taking distributions. So there's a lot of things to consider, but as Jay mentioned, I mean, that's why we do what we do, to help folks navigate the descent.
Here's the interesting thing about your analogy of moving up. And for a lot of people, I've had a guy or I've had a gal.
Yeah.
I've had somebody help me on this climb. They've done really well. How much have you talked to them? Not a whole lot. I've put together a portfolio for a while, and for the last 20 years, things have gone well. Well, if you've had some money in the market over the last 15 years going into 2025, you probably did pretty well.
Yeah.
And I like the person who helped me on the climb. Why should I pay attention to somebody who's going to help me on the descent if the person on the climb
That's a good question.
did me really well?
And that's the one word I'm going to use that Brittany did is strategy, is because there's a different goal on the way down than there is on the way up. There's a different outcome I'm looking for on the way down in a distribution pattern for my funds than there is an accumulation and growth. And here's what it is. When I am in accumulation mode, my one goal is growth. My one goal is get as much funds, money, assets, resources, maybe I'm buying rental homes, whatever it is, get as many as I can, because I want to have as much as I can going into that. And it's great, you need a coach along the way there. But usually that's not the same coach that helps you with the second strategy. The second goal and the strategy you need is income. It's no longer growth, but it's how do I turn everything that I've amassed into this lifetime income that I now can say, through inflation, through taxes, through my lifestyle changes, it's going to pay for what I need from now until if I live to 110, right? Like, that's what you need to know. It usually takes a different strategy and a different coach to have a different outcome. And that's what we help with. We step in and say, you know what, you've done great to get to this point. But like Brittany said, you may or just be halfway done. Because now we have to take what you've given and apply a bunch of different rules and parameters to it and say, how do we create an income to get back off of this mountain?
As we get to that point of trying to adjust, man, we don't like change.
No.
We don't like to change off what we've done, and this is how we got here. And now you're telling me I have to change my mindset on doing it because this worked pretty good. Get me back to the first question that we brought up. Why do I have to change my mindset if what I've done has worked to this point? Is your goal the same? No, I guess my goal's not the same because, and I'm playing this as devil's advocate. I've worked really hard and I've done it really well and I knew how to do this really well and here's my plan. And you stick a portfolio in front of you.
And I would say, great job, Brad. I would absolutely congratulate you if you have put together and amassed a great portfolio, because that is a feat in and of itself. Getting to this point takes a lot of strategy, takes a lot of diligence, takes a lot of work, and we help people get that as well. But what I am trying to tell you is once you get to that point, there's a different set of circumstances. What are those different set of circumstances? Well, now instead of just having to worry about, am I getting income from my employer, right? Because I'm usually working when I'm putting away money for retirement. That's gone. Am I putting away money into these retirement accounts? No, because
that account's gone.
So that's two negatives that I have to account for that I didn't have to account for before. So now, instead of putting money in this account and getting a paycheck from my employer, I am now taking this resource and creating my own income. So now I have to take a paycheck from these buckets of money. And how do I do that? Should I be positioned the same way, and will it affect me negatively or positively if I stay positioned the same way? And we have a lot to say about that, but there's a different set of circumstances, so you have to have a different approach.
The question is, are you ready for the descent? And would you like the descent to be pleasant? Because no one wants it to be disastrous on the way down. If most of the accidents occur on the way down, it's because you haven't made the descent before. Maybe you need somebody like Jay and Brittany who have done the descent for dozens, hundreds, now thousands of people in doing that descent that happens to be different than anybody else's descent. Maybe you've been waiting for something. I don't know what that is, because now's the time to call. Maybe your accumulation has gone really well and now you'd like some help on the way down. How do we do that? Scan the QR code. Do that now. We'll talk about the plan when we come back.
Hi, I'm Jay Hagy, owner of Allon Planning Partners. Well, you've probably heard a lot about Roth conversions lately. First of all, what are they? And second of all, how could they benefit you? A Roth conversion means getting your money out of those tax-deferred accounts like 401ks and traditional IRAs where you've been kicking the tax can down the road for so many years. But really, the question should be, is kicking it down the road really in your best interest? You have a partner in those deferred accounts. It's Uncle Sam. And Uncle Sam is going to take his cut from every dime that grows in that account when you decide to take it out. So let's give Uncle Sam the boot from those retirement accounts and let every penny of future growth be tax-free. Well, with the highest national debt we've ever seen, taxes are not likely to decrease anytime soon, placing a giant tax bullseye on your back. So a Roth conversion is getting your money out of those tax-deferred accounts, paying the taxes now while they're on sale, by the way, and then getting them into accounts where your future dollars can grow tax-free the rest of your life. To experience this tax-free retirement, you do need to sit down with a fiduciary, someone who specializes in retirement planning. So just call the number you see here or scan the QR code and let us help remove that tax bullseye off of your back.
So glad you're with us on the Allon Exchange. Brad Johansson with Jane, Brittany Hagy, and we're kind of talking about your mountain climb and now your descent. How do we figure that out? How do we change the mindset as we go into retirement? I talk about this a long time ago, because I'm an old dude, and I go back, and we didn't have any GPS when I was growing up. And when I was growing up, my dad would stop at the Sunoco's or the Sinclairs or the Texaco's and pick up a map.
That's right.
That
Fold
map
out the
that
map.
would unfold throughout the
Right.
entire
Yep.
car every time. And he'd do it as we would enter different states,
I get that.
going into the idea of trying to figure out how we get to vacation, right? Which is kind of, we want retirement to be like vacation all the time. We don't have the map, and it's hard to go from state to state. Give me the GPS on changing from my ascent to my decline now.
Well, I remember having to get MapQuest.
That's right.
I mean,
so we're still,
yeah,
we
we're
didn't have GPS
okay.
either for a
I
while.
mean, we had to print the directions out before we went.
you're in trouble.
Yeah, you didn't know, you were just stuck.
Yeah.
But I mean, for Jay and I'll say it this way, man, we're both a little strong-headed, maybe.
No, strong-willed.
You know,
not you too.
a little maybe, and we have our own
Sense of
ideas
direction.
and plans or thoughts about how things should be done. Maybe whether we leave clothes on the floor or we don't, or right. There's always a way.
You haven't
That's
had
not
any
me. That's
situations
not me.
like that? No.
Right. Now we're the only couple. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get
Nobody else does that.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
Noted.
Organized chaos is what I like.
So, but when we're driving, sometimes we're driving and I'm like, I'm driving and he may say, no, you need to turn here. And I'm like, no, I'm going this way. And he's like, oh, okay. He thinks his way is one way and I think my way is better, right? And so what we kind of come to this agreement, let's just put in the GPS. Who's going to route us better? Maybe there's a wreck or maybe there's something going on. And that just happened recently. We were like, why is the map taking us this way? It was a route
like we
that
were getting
neither
lost.
one of us liked. And we're like, what is happening?
So what did you do?
Well, we followed the GPS because we missed a wreck and it saved us time.
saved
So
us
we
a
were
lot of
thankful
time.
we used the GPS. But what we want to do is help folks realize that when you actually have a plan, when you actually have a strategy to get to the end goal that you want, which is living as long as you do, fully funded into and through retirement, you can do so with such a peace of mind. And when you have a GPS to lead you through that, man, it's so much better.
And what it does is lets emotions not get in the way. Because if we're just arguing about which way we're supposed to go, we can take the emotions out of it, right? And we're being navigated around something maybe more dangerous. We want to put a GPS plan in front of our clients and make sure that they don't have emotional-based decisions that they're like, oh man, the market's bad today, we're jumping all out. Or man, if things are going really good in crypto, why aren't we all in this?
Yes.
Right? And jumping from one thing to the next, instead of having a dedicated plan to say, we're going to get you exactly where you want to go because we have a dedicated plan and guide, a trusted guide that we've used for a long time to get you to that place.
The idea is that you guys missed a wreck on this because you had a plan. Somebody else knew about the plan beforehand.
We did not know.
This is what you guys, but this is what you do. Look, there's a ditch out there.
Yeah.
How do you know there's a ditch out
That's
there?
right.
Yeah.
We'll be your GPS. We will help you navigate the way because There are things that we can see because we've helped so many navigate this same road. We can help you miss those potholes. We can help you miss those accidents that'll keep you stopped on 75 for 2.5 hours. We don't want you stuck there.
Here's a couple ditch mentalities in accumulation mode, right? One person may be such a saver that they enter retirement and they can't enjoy it because they have been saving. I can't spend this money. I got to keep saving, and that's a ditch, right? Why did you even get this money amassed to begin with? You want to enjoy your destination, right? To use it. And then the other is the ditch of I can't quit spending. So it's like I've spent like I'm making this income. I've got to go to retirement and change my spending plan just a bit, but I can't quit spending because I just need to keep this lifestyle up that I cannot afford. That's two ditches. We need a GPS that says, no, we need to take this down the middle and have a good spending plan to have an accumulation and a distribution plan that works for your retirement
And here's the beauty of a GPS. GPS is going to reroute you as needed. Your financial plan should be the same way. Your financial plan should be flexible. If something comes up that you were not expecting, you should be able to make a few little tweaks along the way to help you still stay on track. If you have a plan that is so rigid that you cannot, basically if everything has to go according to plan, like perfectly for you to experience your goal, then you are in trouble. So just like a GPS reroutes you, that's how we operate. We have a plan, we stick with the plan, but we do maintain that there's some flexibility within the plan to adjust because, hey, life throws curveballs. We're gonna be caught off guard by things we don't expect. Know that going into it and plan for the unexpected.
Let's go back to what you talked about in the beginning of my way, not your way, not my way. This becomes behavioral finance that goes into the GPS plan as well. How do you manage the feelings? Because I'm going to imagine most couples are coming into your office and they're not necessarily on the same page of trying to figure this retirement thing out. You have to do behavioral finance on the feeling and create some of the facts over the feeling of what we need to put together.
As humans, we tend to lean more on our feelings than facts a lot of times, right? Because we are led by our emotions if we are not at least guided a bit by our head knowledge, our facts, right? And so you do need a guide a lot of times. You may not think you do, but I promise you, I'm emotional about my money. Brittany's emotional about her money decisions. You are emotional about your money decisions. You may think, man, and I'm straight-laced, I've been doing it this way for so long. You get into retirement and you start taking those funds and you start seeing the money go down and you're still allocated in a way that the market takes a big dip and that you get, man, now I've got 2 years worth of my income gone in a moment's notice and I don't have time to make that back up. You start making emotional decisions. And so that's where we want to step in and help. Because we have to talk behavioral finance.
Because here's why. Because those emotional decisions, they sabotage sound financial choices.
That's right.
You react in emotion rather than intentionally responding. Those are two very different things. Responding with intentionality or reacting out of emotion. We want to help you. Again, it's about being proactive and planning. I know there's going to be some things I don't anticipate happening. Let's pre-plan how to respond in those moments. And if you actually do that, if you actually set a plan in motion, when those things come, you won't be all of a sudden going and selling everything and moving everything to cash overnight because you're scared out of your mind, because you have planned accordingly and said, you've ran through the what if scenarios and we've done the analysis to show you if another 2008 happens, here's how your portfolio will respond. If another COVID happens, here's how your investments will react, right? So you will know and have that information to take with you moving forward so that you can choose how to respond intentionally and not react emotionally.
That's right.
Let's get into some more of the behavioral finance. I got to take a break to this point of understanding, what fear has been driving me. And maybe this is the time that you call the number on your screen or scan the QR code to say, I have been driven by this. I don't know where I'm going. I'd like some GPS. I haven't had anybody talk to me about all of these things that you're talking about, and maybe this is the time for a second opinion, a complimentary financial plan to put this all together so that we can help you navigate down the mountain in the best possible way. We'll talk more about that behavioral finance and how you can change your mindset to make retirement last the way you want it to look. We'll be right back.
Do you know how taxes will impact your financial future? We meet with many families day after day who have saved years for retirement in a 401k, 403b, or an IRA. But they come to realize they don't truly have a financial plan. They have questions like, how do I turn my money into income streams to last me through retirement? How do I know if I'm best positioned for market volatility and inflation concerns? And how do I ensure I'm not overpaying in taxes? This is one of the greatest tax windows in history, and now is the time to take advantage of this discount while you can. The good news is we specialize in areas such as proper portfolio allocation, retirement income strategies, and tax planning. When you meet with us, you'll walk away with solutions, with answers to your questions. You'll walk away with a written, comprehensive financial plan. Reach out today for your complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis.
So glad you're with us on the Allon Exchange. Brad Johansson with Jane Brittany Hagy, and we're talking about making the climb down the mountain, the descent down the mountain after we've made the climb that you've been making for decades, trying to figure it out. Now getting some GPS on doing this. I talked about other advisors, and many of them have them. There are also a lot of people who like to do it themselves.
Right.
I'm just going to manage my way. I've done this pretty well on the climb. I'm going to figure it out on my way.
Sure.
Do you have any proof, ideas, studies, understanding of whether I do it myself or whether I do it with somebody who's done the GPS before?
Great question. And the question is, why do I need a GPS at all? Why do I need a map at all? Why can't I just float out here and figure it out? Because I know what has got me to this point, and I want to figure out what gets me to the next, right? Here's why. What's the best plan for you, an individual who is looking to get to and through retirement well? What's the best retirement plan for you? Well, I argue it's the one you'll stick to. Because if you're led by emotions and you continue to jump from this thing because this person says this is what I'm supposed to do, and oh, well, that didn't feel good, so I'm going to jump to this one because this is what this person says to do, you're going to make a lot of mistakes making emotional decisions. And so Vanguard actually did a study saying that if you use a good fiduciary advisor, someone like us that's independent fiduciary that is working on your best interest, it actually increases your net year-over-year portfolio return by 3%. Okay, that is huge. And 1.5% of that is just helping you navigate emotional decisions, making sure that you do not jump off the bridge just because someone says, hey, you need to jump off the bridge, right? You make the right decisions because you have a guide. We have put together a lot of tools, a lot of plans to put in your hands so that you do not make emotional decisions. One of those tools is Allon Quiz. The allonquiz.com is what you can go to, or click on that QR code right there and take a short 5 to 7 minute quiz to see how am I prepared for retirement.
Can I fail this quiz?
Ready.
I don't.
You can fail.
I don't like quizzes.
Well, the way it works,
it's easy.
It's a sliding scale, okay? So you're not going to get like an F or an A. You're going to get just a number, and it's going to be on the sliding scale of how ready
prepared I
are
am.
you
Prepared am I?
when it comes to preparing for retirement. And the beauty of this is that it incorporates all of the things that we kind of focus our attention on, this whole comprehensive approach. It's income planning, it's tax planning, it's investment strategy, it's healthcare and estate planning. It includes all of that. And so investment strategy, what we're talking about here today, and our mindset around what we do with our money and how all of that works is incorporated into this. And so this is another one of those tools that will really help you if you're thinking, man, I don't know how ready I am, or I don't know even how to get started, or how do I really determine where I am on this journey and why, as far as the whole GPS conversation, right? I figured it out to this point. Why do I need help moving forward? Because we're the ones that want to kind of shine the flashlight on, Here's the potholes. Here's the car accidents up ahead. We want you to avoid this 2.5-hour traffic delay if at all possible. This is just one of those tools to help you really see those, to illuminate those things so that you don't fall prey to them.
AllonQuiz.com gets you an idea of an understanding. What you're talking about as fiduciaries and independents is the amount of things that you have in your tool belt. As we talk about behavioral science, it is using the right tool for the right job and putting this plan together. And understanding this with a quiz gives you an idea of maybe I don't have the tools that I thought I had, and maybe I need some access.
Or maybe the tools that got me here aren't necessarily the tools to get me to my next goal or to the next stop on this journey. That's one that we see all too often.
That's right.
Helping folks realize this is that the tools and vehicles that I've experienced before may not help me moving forward.
As I'm trying to get ready, give me the parts that I need to pay attention to. We're running out of time, but the idea of what you put together in a complementary plan, because people are intimidated sometimes in walking to the office. What am I going to see, and what do I need to know walking into the office?
And what we're talking about today is one portion of that. It's the income plan. It's the descent. It's the distribution. Do I have a plan to take money out of the accounts that I've amassed over my lifetime without running out of money, right? You have to have that plan. There's a lot of pitfalls there. But you also have to have a good investment strategy that is different from the time that you were working to the time that you're now entering into or in retirement. You have to have a strategy that's more diversified. You can't just be focused on accumulation only. You have to have an income. We also want to help with tax planning. We want to make sure that you're paying Uncle Sam just his fair share and no more. We want to help with estate planning, making sure that once I'm no longer here, how do the funds get to the people that I love, and the state's not making those decisions. And then last but not least, healthcare planning, because you could have everything perfect in your financial plan and have a healthcare disaster that really devastates that plan. So we want to be the GPS for you to make sure that you actually make it to the place that you want to get to and get through retirement unscathed.
And if you're coming into our office, you have to know, you just take a deep breath before you come in. There's no pressure. There's no obligation. We're not going to be talking over your head. We're going to put it in plain terms so that we can help you get to where you want. This is about you. This isn't about us and our strategy or our plans. This is about you. So take a deep breath. No worries, no stress as you move into planning.
Can't wait to see you in the office. We're so grateful that you spent time with us here. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you right back here next time, but you have to do something. Make the call. We'll see you in the office soon. See you here next time.